Today we are going to be talking about interquartile range. These two anchor charts will be available to access on the roadmap through the rest of it as you work, so I'm not going to go into too much detail yet, but I want to introduce our 4 key vocabulary words, 2 of which are ones we have already seen. So, for example, range is one of the key vocabulary words that we've already looked at. Range is talking about the difference between the largest number and the smallest number in a data set. So for example, the largest number in this data set is 8 and the smallest is 2. Therefore, the range would be 6. The whole concept that we are working with today, we are going to still be looking at the median of the data set, which is the middle. But instead of just cutting the entire data display in half, we are now cutting it into quarters. These quarters are what we call quartiles. Quartiles are the value that divide a list of numbers into quarters. Remember, quarters are 1/4 pieces. So remember, if we have 4 pieces, this is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4, which is a whole. These quartiles are referred to as quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. Quartile 1 is the median of the lower half of the data. Quartile 2 is the median of the data display, so that's a skill you guys have already mastered. And then quartile 3 is the median of the upper half of the data display. All of this is important for us to find the interquartile range. The interquartile range is finding the range between, so the difference using subtraction between quartile 3 and quartile 1. So that means you are subtracting whatever the value of quartile 3 is in quartile 1. So it means Q3 minus Q1 gives you your interquartile range. Again, the second example will be provided on your roadmap for you to access. One thing I want to note is you are also going to be accessing your prior knowledge of finding the average or the mean of numbers, because sometimes when we are splitting a data display and we are finding the median, we know that the median is going to be halfway between 2 numbers because there is not one single digit exactly in the middle of the data display. This may also happen when you are looking for your Q1 and your Q3. So remember, the average is adding up the 2 digits. So for example, if we are finding the average of 5 and 6, that means we add 5 and 6 and we get 11. And then we take 11 and divide it by 2 because there are 2 pieces of data to find that the median of this data set, so the exact middle between 5 and 6, is 5 and 5/10. In our guided lesson video, you will see a few more examples that I will go through and how to use all of these concepts to ultimately find the interquartile range. So finding the range of the median part of our data set.